Learn the surprising truth about why letting go of neediness sets you radically free. It started with a scream. Not the kind that shatters glass or terrifies the night, but the silent scream you release into a pillow at 2 a.m. when your soul feels like it's drowning in cement. I was standing alone in the middle of my apartment, phone in hand, waiting for a message that never came. A text, a reply, a sign that I mattered. I had poured myself out into someone else's world, hoping they'd pour just a drop back into mine. But all I felt was the echoing void of neediness. You've felt that, haven't you? That invisible chain yanking your worth towards someone else's reaction. That desperate hunger to be seen, chosen, loved, validated. Maybe it wasn't a relationship for you. Maybe it was approval from your parents, a boss, a friend, society, maybe even God. And here's the thing no one tells you. Neediness doesn't feel like weakness. It feels like life or death. But what if I told you that neediness is actually the enemy of everything you crave? What if the very thing you think will save you, getting what you need, is the reason you're trapped in this cycle? And what if letting go, not clinging tighter, is the key to a kind of freedom that makes your heart burst with clarity? I know it sounds insane, because we're trained from birth to need love, need validation, need success, need security. Our entire identity becomes wrapped around getting things. But the truth is, the more you need, the less you are, and when you let go of neediness, the world doesn't shrink, it expands. You're not just watching a video right now. You're standing at a crossroads. One path leads deeper into the illusion that you're incomplete, always chasing, always waiting. The other path, this one, pulls you into a radical transformation, where the person you've always longed to become doesn't arrive. They awaken. Let me take you back to the moment everything changed for me. I had just returned from a silent retreat. 10 days without speaking. 10 days alone with my thoughts. Stripped of distractions. The silence was deafening at first. I remember sitting under a tree on the 6th day, when an old man, one of the guides, a mystic in his own right, sat beside me. He whispered only one sentence: "You are addicted to being needed because you've forgotten how to just be." And then, he vanished. Literally vanished. I asked the other attendees, the staff. No one had seen him. No record of him. My mind wanted to write it off as hallucination. But my soul knew better. That moment unraveled something in me. A tight knot of seeking that had been strangling my spirit for years began to loosen. And with it came a terrifying question. What if I've been chasing the wrong thing my entire life? The next 3 minutes of that retreat were the most intense of my life. I started seeing visions. Not with my eyes, but with something deeper. I saw myself at 5 years old, crying alone in a corner, desperate for someone to notice. I saw myself at 20, performing, achieving, bending over backwards just to be worthy of love. I saw myself at 30, begging silently through every relationship, "Please need me. Please don't leave." And then something wild happened. In the vision, my younger self turned to me and asked, "What if no one ever needs you again? Who are you then?" I didn't have an answer. That one question broke me open. I cried for 3 hours straight. No shame. No filter. Just raw sobs of years of unmet expectations dissolving into the earth beneath me. And then, the stillness. A stillness so thick, so holy, so full, it felt like God was breathing through my chest. I realized then, when you stop needing anything, everything comes to you freely. Not because you grasped tighter, but because you finally became a vessel wide enough to receive. But I wasn't ready for what came next. The mysterious stranger who knew my deepest secret, and the spiritual explosion that followed. The day after that vision, I returned home. Something had shifted, but the world hadn't changed with me. The notifications still buzzed. The bills still stacked. The people around me still expected me to be something useful, fun, loving, successful. And slowly, I could feel the neediness creeping back in, like a shadow behind my thoughts whispering, "Be who they want, or you'll be alone." But I remembered what that mysterious old man had said. Like a sacred code etched into my bones, you are addicted to being needed because you've forgotten how to just be. I didn't know what it meant fully, until the stranger showed up. It was a Thursday evening, and I was walking through the city, mind still tangled in thoughts about whether I should text someone back who ghosted me. Pathetic, I know. But that's what neediness does. It pulls you into the orbit of people who've already left. I stopped at a park bench and just sat there, staring into the grey sky, hoping the clouds would give me a sign. That's when he appeared. An old man in a long, linen robe, barefoot, eyes that didn't belong to this world. I swear, his presence felt like thunder disguised as stillness. "You're leaking your power," he said. I looked around. "Are you talking to me?" He nodded, then pointed to my chest. "Your heart is wired to give, but you've rerouted it to beg." I froze. His words sliced right through me. Before I could even ask how he knew what I was feeling, he reached into his satchel and pulled out an ancient-looking mirror. It was cracked, dusty, rimmed with what looked like iron burned by fire. "Look into this," he said, "but only if you're ready to see who you are without needing anyone to complete you." I held the mirror, and I kid you not, I didn't see my face. I saw 100 versions of myself, the child performing for praise, the lover pleasing to avoid abandonment, the friend always saying yes to be accepted, the employee overworking to feel worthy. And then all those versions shattered, literally exploded into shards of light. What remained was something unnameable, something whole. I dropped the mirror, gasping. "You are not who they needed you to be," he whispered. "You are who you were before the world told you to need." Then, just like that, he walked into the trees and disappeared. No footsteps. No goodbye. Gone. I know how it sounds, but the moment he left, my entire nervous system felt rewired. It was like someone had unplugged the anxiety generator that ran my life. My breath slowed, my chest opened, and then a wave of peace so strong crashed through me. I fell to my knees in that park and just wept. That night, I didn't check my phone once. I didn't scroll to see who liked my posts. I didn't crave anyone's attention. For the first time in my life, I didn't need anything. And that, my friend, is when the real journey began. Because here's the truth that shook me to my core. Neediness is not love. It's fear wearing a mask. Fear that says, I'm not enough as I am. I must earn it. Beg for it. Shapeshift to keep it. But when you see through the illusion, when you let go of the need to be wanted, validated, chosen, you don't become empty. You become free. It's like taking off a 1,000-pound backpack you didn't even know you were carrying. But the journey doesn't end with one revelation. No. Letting go of neediness is like peeling off layers of armor you wore for years. And each layer cries as you shed it. I had to confront something deeper, my attachment to outcomes. I used to manipulate life. Subtly. Quietly. Trying to engineer specific reactions. I'd post things online to get praise. I'd say the right things to avoid conflict. I'd help others not just out of love, but because I needed to feel useful. But that's still neediness. It's spiritual control disguised as kindness. So I made a pact with myself. For 1 week, I would do everything without any hidden agenda. No fishing for compliments. No people pleasing. No expecting anything in return. And let me tell you, it was terrifying. The first few days felt like detoxing from a drug. I didn't realize how addicted I was to attention, to being liked, to feeling seen. It's wild how much of our identity is built on what we think we mean to other people. But then, something incredible happened. Day 4. I was sitting at a cafe, and the barista completely ignored me. Like, flat out skipped over my order. Usually, I'd feel triggered, resentful. I'd think, do I not matter? Am I invisible? But that day, I just smiled. Not because I was numb, but because I finally didn't need to be noticed to feel real. That moment felt like cracking the code of the universe. When you no longer need people to affirm your worth, the entire game changes. You stop playing roles. You start living truthfully. You don't love out of scarcity. You love out of overflow. You don't give to be seen. You give because it's who you are. And what shocked me most, the less I needed, the more life began to flow effortlessly toward me. Invitations, love, money, connection, it all came when I no longer clung to it. But just when I thought I had it figured out, another test came, one I wasn't ready for. The final test that crushed my ego, and unlocked the freedom I never knew was possible. 3 weeks after that cafe moment, I was on top of the world. I wasn't trying to impress anyone. I was just being. For the first time in my life, my presence didn't feel like a performance. I was grounded, centered, fully alive. Everything flowed with grace. People noticed something different. You feel lighter. They'd say, there's peace in your eyes. And I smiled, thinking I had finally cracked the spiritual jackpot. But that's the thing about the ego. It doesn't die without a fight. It just hides in more subtle disguises. One night, I got a call. It was from someone I hadn't heard from in years. Someone who once meant everything to me, and whose absence had once left me hollow. Let's call her Maya. When Maya left my life, I spiraled. She was the mirror I'd poured all my neediness into. And when she shattered it by walking away, I didn't know who I was without her reflection. So hearing her voice again, it stirred something. Old feelings. Old patterns. A secret thrill of, maybe now I'll finally get what I needed back then. We met for tea. She looked radiant, strong, wiser. And as we talked, it was like no time had passed. But something was different. Me. I didn't feel that gravitational pull to impress her. I didn't hang on her words. I didn't analyze every gesture, wondering if I still mattered to her. But then came the final test. At the end of the night, she looked me in the eye and said, I was wrong to leave the way I did. I never stopped caring about you. If you're still open, maybe we could try again. And for a moment, just one breath, I felt it, the old desire to say yes. Not because it was right, but because it meant I was finally chosen. But then something rose inside me. A voice, not of fear, not of pride, but of clarity. It said, you don't need this anymore. You're already whole. And I looked at her and said, thank you, but I'm not that person anymore. She nodded, tears in her eyes, not because I rejected her, but because she could feel the truth in my words. We hugged, not with attachment, but with peace. And as I walked away, I realized I had finally passed the test. I had faced the deepest echo of my neediness, and I didn't kneel before it. I stood tall, alone, free. That night, I had a dream. I was standing in a vast desert, alone again, but this time, I wasn't afraid. Suddenly, from the horizon, thousands of mirrors began rising from the sand. They surrounded me in a circle, each reflecting a different version of myself, the seeker, the beggar, the pleaser, the warrior, the lover, the wounded child. And then, each one began to dissolve, not violently, but like mist under sunlight, until only one mirror remained. I walked up to it, and in it, I didn't see someone trying to be loved. I saw someone being loved. I saw someone radiating wholeness. Someone no longer chasing, but simply walking. That dream wasn't a metaphor, it was a spiritual download. A message from the deepest part of me, and maybe the universe itself. Letting go of neediness doesn't make you empty, it makes you pure. You're not meant to be a vessel desperately filled by others. You're meant to be the spring. And the world doesn't fall in love with you because you're needy. It draws to you when you become sovereign, still, whole. So let me ask you something that might shake your soul. Who are you when no one texts back? Who are you when your post gets 0 likes? Who are you when the person you crave walks away? If your answer is nothing or not enough, then beautiful soul, you've been tricked. Because the truth is, you were never meant to be completed, you were meant to be remembered. Remembered as the wholeness that existed before the ache, before the break, before the story of I'm not enough was tattooed onto your spirit. You are not your need. You are not your past. You are not someone else's mirror. You are the light that never depended on reflection. And when you let go of neediness, it's not just emotional freedom you gain, it's spiritual authority, the kind that makes mountains move, hearts heal, and destinies shift. So right now, take a breath with me. Inhale. Exhale. And ask yourself, deeply, what if I already have everything I was chasing? What if the very act of letting go is the miracle I've been waiting for? What if this is the moment, right now, when you finally release the grip of needing and step boldly into the miracle of being? If you're ready, really ready, then you don't need to go anywhere. You don't need to achieve anything. You don't need anyone's permission. You just need to remember the truth. You are already free. And the chains? They were never locked. You were holding them. So drop them now. Walk. Shine. Live. And if this video woke something up in you, something ancient, something sacred, then don't just watch. Choose. Because now you know. Letting go of neediness doesn't leave you with less. It gives you back the one thing this world can never give you, yourself. You were never broken. You were just believing a lie,